And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode. 3 to go because we are at the business end of the football season with thanks to DLM Machinery with Tassie Rules, Tasmania's Footy Show and Rick Fontaine. And tonight, well, we're going to very shortly reflect on the grand finals and summarise those that were played last weekend here in Tasmania and on the other big island, King Island. We've got a guest coming in tonight who led his club to one of the most extraordinary last quarter performances to keep his side in the NTFA Division 2 competition. Was one of the most unbelievable final quarters played by Campbelltown. We will talk to the coach. He'll be joining us very shortly for that one. And we'll finish off previewing a massive weekend of finals actions right across the state to finish off the show this week. All right, but firstly, we're going to just take a look back at what happened last weekend in the grand finals that were played in the various competitions. And first of all, we head over to King Island. They had their grand final, of course, the magnificent three-team competition. There's a shot from the junior grand final. Big crowd over there. They had all sorts of weather, as you'll see in a moment, but it was held at the beautiful Curry Oval last Saturday. And in the juniors, Grassy, they were too strong in the end for North, 13-8-86 to 7-15-57. So Grassy winning despite having fewer scoring shots. You just saw a shot there of the weather. And in the senior grand final, Curry then took on Grassy, and it was Curry that took the flag by 82 points, 15-16, 106. And they were too good for Grassy, 3-6-24. And, Mr. King Island, Jan van Rooswijk, we've got a shot of him. There he is. He's got the headphones on, the cameras. He's filming, he's commentating, he's doing everything. He's out there in the weather. And we appreciate all his stories and support of our show throughout 2025. It's a wonderful three-team competition that's been going for a very long time. The NWFA Grand Final was run and won at Ulverston last week. And there they are, the premiers for season 2025. East Ulverston, their senior coach, joined us on the show a couple of weeks ago, actually, Callan Mann. And it was their first premiership since 2002 and their second ever. So it would have been a massive celebration. They beat Motton Preston by 10 points, 12-6-78 to 8-20-68. So Motton Preston actually kicked 2 goals, 13 after halftime, 28 scoring shots to 18. But bad kicking, as they say in the classics, is bad football at times. And it cost them with East Ulverston winning. Troy Purton was best on ground. He took out the George Foster medal. And the Old Scholars Grand Final was at the beautiful North Hobart. We just got a clip here of some highlights. And as we run through the details, it was Dosa who were too strong in the end for OHA in the Old Scholars Grand Final. They led it every change, winning 19-10, 124 to 9-5-59. And congratulations to Nathan McCulloch of Dosa, who took out the best on ground medal, and they actually got the double. Dosa winning the reserves grand final with a 6-2 final term against OHA. The final scores there in the reserves, it was Dosa 13-7-85 to OHA, 6 goals, 7-43. So that's the end of the Old Scholars football season. We can see one of the shots coming up for goal here in the last quarter. The game was well and truly over just before the final siren to sink their 19th goal of the game. Dosa, as I said, final scores 19-10, 124 to 9-5-59 with OHA getting a late one. So just some highlights there from that grand final. All right, we are going to take a break on the show, but stay with us. Coming back, Corey Goodluck's going to join us, playing coach of Campbelltown Football Club.
For 30 years, DLM Machinery has kept Tasmania's construction industry moving. As the sole Tasmanian distributors of Cabelco, ASV Positrax and Merlot telehandlers, we offer trusted sales, parts and service with locations in Launceston and Hobart. From excavators to telehandlers, routine maintenance to field repairs, our skilled team has you covered wherever the job takes you. DLM Machinery. Local, reliable, ready when you need us. Get in touch today.
Welcome back. Great to have your company. It is time now for our Club in Focus with thanks to Harrison Agents. But before we get to that, just going to run through with Premier League finals starting this weekend. The leading goal kickers for season 2025 at the end of the home and away season. We'll bring up the men first. And Brad Cox-Goodger, he led the way in the end, 83 goals for the season, 12 clear of Launceston Footy Club playing coach Jake Hines on 71. And Archie Wilkinson, who's crossed from Hillwoods, had another great year with Launceston, kicking 58 goals for the season. In the women in the Premier League, terrific season for Lucy Salzberger from South Launceston. The Bulldogs sharpshooter kicked 49 goals, and we'll be hoping to get to the 50 on the weekend. Taisha Hines from Scottsdale, 38, and Liana Freestone from South on 22 goals. The leading goal kickers there in the Premier League competitions for season 2025. All right, time now to meet our guest. Now, we touched on it at the start of the show tonight. This was one of the most extraordinary final quarters in recent memory in Tasmanian football. Campbelltown were trailing Evandale by 31 points at three-quarter time. And I'm really going to delve into what he said at three-quarter time to his troops, because they kicked 11-7 to 1 point in the final quarter. Corey Goodluck's the coach of the Campbelltown Robins and joins us now. Welcome. Nice to see you again, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
What did you say at three-quarter time? What happened?
Oh, it was a lot of just belief, really, and we've had a good game plan implemented all year, and it was just we had to address that and get back to the basics, and that we had nothing to lose. We thought we'd had a good three quarters for the first half, and we just needed to lift our game a little bit, and we just thought we'd take the game on, nothing to lose, and see what the outcome was.
And the outcome was fantastic. Talk us through the year, because obviously it's been a massive year for the club, coming from the Oatlands District Association into the NTFA. You are a premiership coach, playing coach with Bracknell 4 years ago. What attracted you to this role?
Yeah, obviously I have a few close mates that live in Campbelltown and played football for Campbelltown, and they ventured up to Bracknell when in 2018, and some of us played in a losing grand final then against South, and a few won a premiership in the reserve. So I had a few close mates down there that word got out if they were to come in the NTFA, would I be interested in heading down that way? And it started off just being a player, and then things got a little bit real, and then all of a sudden they needed to look for a coach, and kind of got roped into doing it a little bit. Yeah.
How much have you drawn on the experience of coaching Bracknell? Because that was a really historic moment for that club as well back in 2021. Have you drawn a lot from that on this year with the ride through the finals?
Yeah, obviously 21 was a great stepping stone for myself and also the club. That's something I'll probably look back on this year more than anything, and try to take bits and pieces out of that year, and also put it into this year, and learn where a few things I did wrong that year, and learn from my mistakes. And I feel like that a few things have paid off and a few things haven't, but it's all learning curve by then. Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, the Oatland Districts Football Association is a one-team competition, one-club competition, no reserves. It's an extraordinary effort. No doubt so many people have played a role in this to actually pull a seniors and reserves team together. But for both to be in the preliminary final during the course of the year, what have you seen? What's special about this club and this year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people behind the scenes, really. It's, a lot of people say, how have we done it? But there's a lot of good community people that have chipped in and helped out. And we've essentially recruited another team, and the biggest key was to sign on the guys that had played in the ODFA the year before. That was our main object, and then we knew that we had to go out and then find other players, but they did have a lot of local boys that were missing out each week due to the one team, so that was a bonus. So we already had enough guys sitting on the sideline missing out each week that could help fill a team, so we just had to go and recruit some people that I thought would help push to be strong in this competition. And so there's a lot of people behind the scenes that have done a lot of work that don't get recognised each week, which they should, and they're the ones that got us up and going.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, we'll preview the game coming up on the weekend, but I know you crossed paths with Lockie Dornoff, playing coach, obviously, of Evandale as well, and there was a little comment between the two of you, wasn't there, as well? It was just like but you look back and you think, it's still a nice moment to have had that conversation when it was almost that resignation of what had happened. Tell us about that.
Yeah, me and Lockie were lucky enough I was lucky enough to help Lockie this year coaching in the NTFA rep team. So got to know Lockie a little bit better, and then obviously played against him a lot,
Mm.
coached against him when he was at Deloraine. So we've had a little bit of a bond there that, yeah, so obviously on Saturday or on Sunday, sorry, um, you could tell we had a few little niggles at each other throughout the day and a few little smart remarks. But yeah, he's a great bloke.
He is.
And like I said, in that last quarter, like what could he have done? All the momentum shifted our way. And as a coach, it'd be daunting being in that position. So I thought he'd done a great job and to get Evandale to play finals, and they haven't played finals for a while in the seniors. So it was really good effort by him. But yeah, we take your hat off to him and you put yourself in their shoes. It was just momentum shifted one way for us, which was good for me.
The song was belted out after the game. Do you allow the players to soak it up and enjoy this for a period of time?
Yeah, we had a goal inside the club at the start of the year. What our goal was, and that was to hopefully be competitive and make a final, and we ticked that off. So then to go out and win one was something else. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the guys and also the reserves making the finals and winning their first final. So it was something that we soaked up, but also something that I know we've worked so hard towards. So I didn't let them get ahead of themselves and made sure that, as much as it feels great to win, we do have our eye on the prize and hopefully want to have a good crack at Perth this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But before we do, let's have a look at the NTFA final schedule coming up for this weekend, because the Premier League gets underway and that will start at UTAS Stadium on Saturday. It's a second semi-final, and the under-18s, Launceston will take on South Launceston, and they'll also meet each other in the reserves second semi. The women is at 1:25, the second semi-final, South Launceston and Deloraine. Great story, Deloraine. I mean, they've come from only a couple of years ago where they were playing in the second division, and they won the premiership, and they are doing very well. This will be a really good game between these two. And then, of course, two of the best teams in Tasmania over the last decade, North Launceston and Launceston, will do battle once again. North undefeated this year, but the closest Launceston got was 13 points in the final round. So they'll take a lot into that, and you never know what can happen in finals footy, as we saw with Campbelltown's last quarter last week, and, of course, Perth, who we'll get on to shortly. On Sunday in the Premier League, we go to Youngtown Oval, and it is the knockout first semi-final. St Pat's are taking on Old Scotch at 8:40 a.m. That is for the under-18s. The reserves at 10:35 between North and Longford. In the women's first semi-final, Scottsdale finished third, Launceston fourth, only half a win separating those two teams. That should be a great clash as well. And then South Launceston and Longford. I know plenty of people are saying they're making up the numbers in the Premier League senior men's competition. They've both shown glimpses during the latter course of the season and certainly improved enormously over that course of time. One of them will go through to next week to take on the loser of Launceston and North Launceston. But that game is at Youngtown Oval. 2:30, South Launceston are taking on Longford. It's preliminary final in Division 1, and this is going to be held at the NTCA ground on Saturday. The women's prelim final, Bridgenorth taking on Old Launcestonians. Of course, Bridgenorth, the reigning champs from the Premier Division last year, against their big rivals, Old Launcestonians, who won the premiership the year before. The Rezzies between Rochalee and Georgetown at 11:55, and then Lilydale take on Hillwood with the winner to play Rochalee. And that is, Corey, as I come back to you, not an easy task that will be after Rochalee's brilliant performance last week. I think they kicked the first 17 goals.
Yeah, they had a good day out, didn't they?
They did. Let's have a look at your game. We'll show it on the screen for our viewers. The preliminary final, you're taking on Perth in both the seniors and the reserves. And I know it's caused a bit of a stir that the game's being played at Campbelltown after Perth were undefeated. The social media certainly lit up on Monday once the schedule was done. I drove up from Hobart the other morning, and the ground is looking in amazing condition. But you're going to get a bumper crowd, no doubt. It is going to be packed.
Yeah, that's something that we've had this year. Has had really good crowds, and I think it's a great spot. Obviously, Campbelltown centralised in between the southern and the north, so we get a lot of guys travel up each week, and you guys come down. So obviously Saturday, yeah, should be a big day.
It should. Perth have had obviously a great season, well documented. They didn't lose a game, but they got beaten last week by the East Coast Swans. So what do you take from that? And what is going to be the key for Campbelltown to try and I guess, not only take the momentum, but knowing you're coming up against the best team over the course of the home and away season to try and make it through the grand final.
Yeah, that's right. You don't go undefeated all year for no reason, and they're a great side. They've been they've kept the same group of guys for the last 4 or 5 years, and they've been thereabouts. So they're full credit to them. They've had a great year, and obviously on Saturday against East Coast, things didn't go their way, and that's finals football.
Yep.
So it's a lot tougher than normal, and I'm sure they'll be looking to bounce back even stronger. So we're preparing for a very solid hit out, and it's going to be it's going to be a true finals.
It's going to be a
footy.
ripper of a contest. Absolutely. Well said. It's going to be real finals footy, and looking forward to a great crowd down at Campbelltown. Well done on what you've done
Thank you.
in leading the ship from the start of the season into this competition. As I said, you got plenty of experience, and your own form kicked, I think, 4 last week. You had a pretty good day. You happy with your form?
Yeah, not too bad. Got on the end of a few, thanks to the boys up the field. But trying just to do my bit where I can. Yeah.
All right. Congrats on so far, and
Thank you.
all the best on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
It's Corey Goodluck joining us, the playing coach of the Campbelltown Football Club. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to look at the rest of the finals action in just a moment.
HST Tree Specialists. We are the industry leaders in vegetation management in Tasmania. Our services include tree solutions, hazardous vegetation removal, and project consultations. We are committed to eliminating vegetation-based risk in Tasmania while being sensitive to environmental impact, with a strong focus on health and safety practices. And from large-scale government and commercial projects, small private arboriculture jobs, and equipment hire, MyTas recommends HST.
Welcome back. Well, not only have we got the NTFA finals coming up this weekend, but the NWFL finals resuming this weekend. It is the second week. Our attention, firstly, is at the Devonport Oval. Now, there's a big day of football coming up there. We've got at 9 a.m, you can see the Colts, Devonport are taking on Penguin, and that'll be followed by the senior women competition semi-final between Devonport and Ulverston. They're 1-1 for the season, these two. Devonport winning in round 7. And then a fortnight ago, Ulverston turned the tables and defeated Devonport by 5 goals. So that should be a terrific game there at Devonport Oval. Devonport again in action in the Development League at 12:20. And then in the seniors, Devonport take on Ulverston at 2:20. So Ulverston are coming off a 45-point win over Wynyard in the qualifying final last weekend. So plenty of confidence there. They're going to be up against it. Devonport have been red hot all season. The winner will go into the grand final, but Devonport undefeated. And the interesting stat, Ulverston have played in 2 draws as well this season. So they've had quite the season, but they're going to need to be at their absolute best to be competitive and try and get over Devonport. A couple of weeks ago when I was down there, they did actually lead at quarter time. So if they could string 4 quarters together, might be in for a good game. Also, NWFL finals continue on Sunday. This time they'll be at Wynyard. And it all starts at 9 o'clock with the semi and the Colts between Latrobe and Burnie. And then qualifying final for the women at 10:50. Penguin are taking on Wynyard. Penguin with just the 1 loss for the season. They will start favourites for a direct path into the grand final when they do take on Wynyard. But the Cats did actually inflict Penguin's only loss for the season. That was way back in round 1. So they'll be looking to take something out of that. So that is the women's qualifying final. And then we've got the Development League semi-final between Burnie and Latrobe, and then the seniors at 2:20, which will feature Wynyard at home taking on the Burnie Dockers. Right, we turn our attention now to the SFL, and the finals are down the preliminary final stage at Huonville coming up this weekend. We will preview the grand final next week here on the show. A couple of special guests joining us ahead of the grand final. If we look at the Community League, the senior men, it is Huonville who are going to be taking on Dodgers Ferry in the preliminary final. This is at Huonville Oval at 3 p.m. Huonville went down to the undefeated Signet by 14 points. So Signet are into the grand final, whilst Dodgers Ferry, they defeated Lindisfarne, who were coming in last week's semi-finals by 9 points after leading by 39 at half-time. So tight affair there. So that should be a great game. In the women, it is Hutchins taking on Norfolk. Also at Huonville, that'll be at 1 p.m. The winner will take on Claremont in the grand final. These two sides have met only a couple of weeks ago, with Hutchins winning that one by 10 goals. Reserves, Huonville take on Sorrel at 11 a.m. at Huonville, and then also Huonville once again in action in the under-18 boys. That is at 9 a.m. where they take on Sorrel. All right, let's turn our attention now to the SFL finals for the under-18 boys and girls. There are the details on your screen. Under-18 boys, this is at North Hobart Oval where the Demons will take on Clarence on Saturday at 9 a.m. And then at Lauderdale, first semi-final, it is Glenorchy in action against Kingborough. And the under-18 girls on Saturday at Pontville, beautiful Pontville Oval. Clarence will take on Kingborough, and Claremont tomorrow night will take on North Hobart in the second semi-final, the winner to go into the grand final. So Friday night action, and that is coming to you from Abbotsfield Park in Claremont. Claremont have had a fantastic season and deservedly getting a home final for that one. And finally, to the SFL Premier League men and women. Their finals are getting underway this weekend. Details are on your screen with the senior men. Lauderdale, well, what a season they've had. 15 wins and just the one loss. They'll take on Clarence, 11 wins and 5 losses. Second semi-final, so the winner will go to the grand final. That game is at 2:30 at Lauderdale. Last time they played, Lauderdale did win by 29 points, and that was in round 15. Scores were level at three-quarter time. Clarence have got some big ins from the young Tasmanian Devils, so that should be a beauty. And then at North Hobart Oval, also on Saturday afternoon, it is going to be a great game between North Hobart and Glenorchy, who finished third and fourth. Senior women, it's Clarence taking on Kingborough in the second semi. Kingborough leading head-to-head 2-1 for the season. That will be at Pontville Oval at 12 p.m. and at 1:30 at North Hobart Oval. North Hobart taking on Glenorchy. And you can see the details for the reserves at the bottom of the screen. North Hobart take on Clarence at North Hobart, and Lauderdale facing Glenorchy. So that is all the details coming up for the SFL finals this weekend. And also, we've got one grand final being played, and that is going to be the Wivenhoe Showgrounds, the Darwin Football Association grand final. The reserves game, it's going to feature Yolla and Queenstown. And then Queenstown take on South Burnie in the grand final at 2 o'clock. So there'll be a big contingent, no doubt, heading up from the West Coast for what should be a beauty of a day. It always is in the Darwin Football Association grand final. Of course, the winner of that will face the winner of the NWFA grand final, which, of course, was East Ulverston. They're going to play for the Country Cup. That'll be the following Saturday, the 13th of September. So a ton of footy coming up this weekend. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We're going to have a special preview to the SFL next week for all our Southern football fans. But enjoy your weekend of footy wherever you may be going to watch, and we'll catch you next Thursday.